Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so it's time to start painting. If you notice, I've already painted in this section. This is because this is the section that's going to take the longest to dry, and you have to have a base color down for this one. Alright, the next thing is outline and fill in. This is actually how we are going to be painting this year, and how we're going to be drawing it out. We're going to paint it first, and we're not going to use pencil. So you're going to take a light color, a yellow, a white, something like that. Just get a little bit of the color on the hair, not the metal part because you can't use it, of your paintbrush. And then you're going to use it to draw. Draw whatever you're drawing. Doesn't really matter. This is just practice. And later on, you're not going to actually see those lines at all because you'll wind up filling them in with your paint on top of it. Alright, so the next thing is overpainting. So this part is completely dry. Yours might take a little bit longer. We're going to get a little bit of paint, and then you can draw whatever you want, whatever you're trying to do on your thing. Remember, when you're running out of paint, get more paint. Do your thing. Okay, so that is overpaint. You always paint. Overpaint is literally painting on top of something else. Alright, dry brush. I'm going to wash out my paintbrush. This is an excellent time to talk about the water bucket. Water bucket. You're not filling it up that much, just filling it up enough to cover the little ridges that are down inside of there. And you rub, 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 wipe it off on the side of the bucket. You're not flicking because then you get water everywhere that's dirty, and no one likes when you do that. And then blot it off on your paper towel. Mine is off to the side over there. Alright, so continuing on. Dry brush is when you have a very dry brush. I still have wetness in here, so I'm going to dry it off a little bit more. You get just a tiny bit of paint, a little tiny bit, and you're doing it for texture over something else. It's great grass texture, stuff like that. Alright, so sponge painting. You're taking a sponge and you're painting directly on top of the sponge. It's because you just want a nice sponge texture later on. You're not dipping the sponge directly into the paint because it's a sponge, people. It's going to soak up all of that paint. You're not going to have any paint left. And then you're going to wind up making perfect circles with your sponge paint, with your sponge painting, instead of just nice light texture. So, barely touch your paper, and there's your sponge. When you go to wash this out, grab your water bucket, push it down, push, twist, push. I'm pushing and I'm twisting. Pushing and twisting. Alright, most of it's out. Squeeze it out. Don't twist, just squeeze. Make sure you get all of it out. Mine's obviously not out, so I need to go back and do it. Rub it against those little fridges on the bottom. And again, squeeze and twist. Or, like, see how I'm twisting this? I'm not, like, twisting the actual stuff like that, because otherwise you'll wind up ripping it. And then blot it off on a paper towel. And then you can let the next person use it. Alright, so there we go. Blending. Blending is when you're mixing two colors together. It starts by painting on one side, washing out your paintbrush, leaving a gap between that color and the other color. Leaving a little bit of a gap, and then starting to slowly connect the two. You're trying to mix the two colors so that there is a smooth transition between the colors. And sometimes you have to go back and forth. So you should be able to see the original colors at the end. Sometimes you have to wipe off the paintbrush because you have too much paint. Alright, there we go. Okay, so that is blending. Next is dabbing. Take the paintbrush, push it down, pull up. Great textural one. Push down, pull up. Textural details. This is a chance to just kind of practice some texture. You're going to do some lines. Figure out what your paintbrush can do for you. Some squiggles, whatever kind of texture you think might be in your painting. Stippling is when you're poking your paper. Controlled pokes. Top of your paintbrush. This is one of those things that you're going to probably want to do on top of another color. We're not going to do it for our paint technique sheet, but something to think about. The other thing that you need to paint is sgraffito. You need to paint this one also first. So this one and that one first, because you need to let this dry. While we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to come over here and we're going to do our fill in. So there's our yellow, and we're actually going to make sure that we go back over top of all of our yellow with whatever color we wanted to fill it in with. And notice through this whole thing I only used 2 colors. You only need to use 2 as well. Doesn't have to be blue, but I highly recommend yellow as one of them to do the outline fill in, or white if you can see it. Alright, and so you're totally filling up that. So, for Sgraffito, you take another color, you paint directly on top of it. Wait until it's totally dry. Mine's not completely dry, so it's not going to be as good. But you paint on top, then you flip your paintbrush over, and you take the end, and you carve away whatever textural details, which you did over there, you want. You can even do like grass, or brick patterns, whatever you want, right there with Sgraffito. It's something you definitely have to think about what color you want it to be on the bottom first. Alright, so if you have any other questions, let us know.